Well, welcome back to my home base and my shop here in Arizona, and it feels like it's been a while since I've been here. I've been all over the place. I'm going to take a break from this 2001 Featherlite H3 and this 1997 Country Coach XL bus chassis and I feel like I've been working on buses a little bit too much lately. So what we're going to try to do is a quick fun video about this 2008 Discovery diesel pusher from Fleetwood. It's been a while since we've done just strictly a roof inspection. So let's get one of those done and take it easy for the rest of the afternoon. Now this is a diesel pusher, but it does have a membrane roof on it. You can see it has a little stucco appearance to it. I would call this a TPO roof. I know there's other people that might actually call it a alpha roof. Either way, it's a thermoplastic. It is not EPDM and it's not PVC. So we're going to take a look at this. But first, let me show you something. And I can explain why I have a towel in my hand. Normally when we do a roof inspection together, I have the slide out rooms out, or I run the slide out rooms out so we can take a look inside or on top of the roof. But never underestimate the power of transforming. So I actually have a pretty good look at the roof from the inside here. Over here too. So if we carefully put protection on the seat right there, we can hop up on the chair. And with a flashlight, we can take a pretty good look at the condition of the roof without having to fuss with that slide out topper above. But that's why I always have a flashlight with me to take a look at hidden things. So really, I'm not really seeing anything I'm not concerned about. This is still a membrane roof on a diesel pusher. I really wish manufacturer would stop doing that. A gel coat fiberglass roof would be just as simple, but the seals look pretty good. And I did notice that it does look like water does puddle up there because it is a flat roof. If you had a gel coat fiberglass roof, you could mold it, you know, to make sure water does run off of it. It looks like we have a pretty good amount of space above the bedroom slide right here, so I can just put the towel on the bed and just go ahead and peer over the top of it just that easily. All right, we look really good. Nothing you can be concerned about. Let's run the slide out rooms out. On a Fleetwood, your engine will need to be running. And the park brake will need to be on. Luckily, you have the instructions right there. So we can go ahead and go out with it. Don't worry. I am not anywhere close to that seat. I already looked. All right, we have our absolute favorite, a full wall slide out from Fleetwood. Make a hybrid with HWH slide out room locks and a Power Gear slide room controller with multi-motors on it. I'm being sarcastic. These are not my favorite slide out rooms at all. Perfect. Now, the owner of this 2008 Revolution didn't have any real concerns. They just brought it into the shop for some other issues that we're taking a look at. But he did ask me if I could take a look at the roof real fast, because we just experienced one of the wettest storms we've had in Arizona, especially here in the valley, since about 100 years. And of course, I'm a very big proponent that you should always be inspecting your roof constantly. That is to say, you should be hyper vigilant. Now, I'm not going to go through the hassle of looking for the ladder extension in his basement. I am at my shop, and I have my very tall folding ladder. That's very, very safe. So I prefer that anyways. But I will go ahead and step right here just so we can flex the ladder to see if the sealant opens up at all. So far I'm not seeing any issues. Now TPO is not like EPDM, so it shouldn't chalk too much, but you should wash it periodically. You might still get a little bit of chalking, but not too much. And this is just going to use self-leveling acrylic, kind of like a Dicor. That's what we'll be using up there. Clearance lights look good. Maybe I could recommend getting this cap seal done. You'd use a non-sagging roof sealant on that, like a Dicor. We do just want to use that just to keep water from getting behind there. Even though it's sealed pretty well, you can see the butyl is still leaking out after all these years. But yeah, if we can get a cap seal right there, that will discourage water from making its way down in between. You can see that seal on that slide. is probably bad. I wasn't able to look at on the back side, so we can make a note of that. Over here, solar panels, they look good. They look good. Now, he made a complaint that in heavy winds, it sounded really, really loud over here above his bed. I suspect it was his slide-out room topper right here. These are notoriously loud, especially in wind. But we'll go ahead and... All right, it doesn't feel loose. But if we look back here, where we already missed, we might see the issue is just the fabric is actually coming out. So it's all stretched out, so I wouldn't deny this was probably flapping. So this fabric is cracking, and the insert for the ultra or sonic welded flap to hold the cord in, which keeps it in the rail right there, is broken too. So that slide out topper fabric is bad. See, that's why you have to look at everything. Okay. Just the tiniest little hole in this membrane can turn into a very big rotten spot. So that's why I said it's very important to be vigilant about the upkeep. It looks like this has seen a lot of summers here in Arizona. Looks like whoever sealed up the roof last time let their nozzle tip off. Go ahead and open this up, which is why I do like to make sure that if you install a vent cover, you make sure that it's something you can easily inspect underneath and clean out underneath, because these will get full of leaves, branches, and dirt. And that dirt can turn into mud, which can let plants grow in it too. Arizona's not too much of an issue. But yeah, that doesn't look bad either. Got the rear AC. I'll just lean up against it. It's not loose. It's not loose. I prefer this type of vent cover. These are a lot easier than the threaded ones. Somebody put it into nice fresh sealant there, or it's worked its way through. Now, I don't like seeing those screws without sealant on it, so somebody ran that through and it's not protected. I mean, technically there is sealant underneath, but water can puddle right there and make its way down the screw, so that should just have a little bit of a dab of sealant. Basically, you take the screw back out, put sealant on it, put the screw in, and then put sealant back on top. So it's another problem we just saw. An uncommon problem on these pneumatic awnings, these Weather Pros, is that cording that goes in that pocket that's missing on that bedroom slide out topper. It shrinks up and allows this to come loose. So you can add more if you want to. It's not uncommon for TV antennas to cause some problems on a membrane roof, but it looks like we have some seals right there to prevent it from rattling and damaging the roof. And over here, looks pretty good. A little bit of I wouldn't call it buckling, just a little bit of wrinkles here on the top. Not too much to be done about that. That's going to be purely cosmetic. And not seeing any issues with any of the sealant right here. Whoever resealed the roof did a pretty decent job. It looks like we got a void or a bubble right there, so that would be a good place to reseal, because that does happen with self-leveling when you'll get bubbles. So we might want to touch up some of those bubbles there. Looks good, looks good. Looks good. Peer over the side, freak you guys out. Do recommend that we basically get a cap seal very similar to that. And okay, really not seeing anything that I'm too worried about. Might as well grab this one, huh? Yeah, that one's not loose either. I think it was just going to be the fabric over there. That was easily going to be flapping in the wind. We do have this front AC. It's not loose. And this gimmick of a battery maintainer I guess it's better than nothing. And then we have the flat out topper here. So I guess that's not too bad. Overall, we found a lot of items that if we didn't do an inspection, we wouldn't know any better about. I do want to recommend resealing the screws on the hardware for that vent cover. We could recommend doing something about the loose fabric on the awning there. I do want to recommend that we reseal the molding over here. Can't do it underneath the awning very easily, but it could be done, I guess, if you put enough effort into it. But definitely on this side over here. Otherwise, that is showing its age. You can kind of see it better right here, how it's turning into powder. But it's still good enough. The sealant on the skylight looked good. I didn't see any cracks on that. This fabric needs to be replaced. And when it comes to the seal on that front cap, where the fresh sealant bubbled, I would recommend we clean that up and just dab that a little bit. Happy to say this roof is in really good shape. It feels strong. The membrane's in good shape, even though this is approaching, see, 20 years old now. Because this was built in 2007, currently it's 2025. I think it only has an 11-year warranty on it, but if you maintain it and keep up with it, there's really no reason why a membrane roof can't be pretty long lasting. Again, assuming that the factory installed it correctly with adhesive and it's not ballooning over time like they are doing in modern times now. So a membrane roof is not really the worst thing that you could have on an RV. Not maintaining a roof or not knowing that there was damage to the roof is what really causes people to be upset with membrane roofs, because they do trap moisture in once water does get in there. So that was it, a quick roof inspection on a 2008 Discovery from Fleetwood. I do appreciate you guys watching these videos, and I do want to take a second to touch base about something I did recently. Now, over the last few years, I've been more than lucky enough to run into a lot of viewers of this channel that have expressed a lot of gratitude for any help that they apparently think that I've given them and any other viewers of this channel. I don't really feel like I've done that much for you guys, but in all these conversations, they've all expressed a desire to thank me somehow. Generally, it would be to buy me a drink, buy me a coffee, take me out for dinner. But I'm not much of a foodie. I don't drink coffee. I just have to disappoint people when they're just trying to be kind and thanking me. However, in these discussions, people have still expressed a desire that they want to help me out somehow. So what I did do about a month, 2 months ago with zero fanfare is that I did open up the channel for memberships. I never wanted to do memberships because I don't really feel like you guys should have to pay me anything, and I didn't want to make any big deal about it because, again, I don't think you guys should have to pay me anything. And it makes me uncomfortable to feel like people are paying me an ungodly amount of money every month. So I feel like I'd be obliged to make sure my video is better quality, production value is better, and I'm getting out any more videos for them because, again, they're paying for it. So what I did is I released or made membership available. I think I made the membership fee about as cheap as YouTube would let it be. Now in the membership, I don't say that I'm gonna give you guys anything because, again, it causes me a lot of anxiety to let people down. But all that being said, you guys have still found a way, without me telling you, without me promising anything, a lot of you guys have actually joined the membership, and it's quite shocking to me. And I wanted to make sure that I thanked you personally for that in a video. And I do want to bring up one thing that I didn't know that I could do until I did these memberships, was that if I come out with a new video, if I have it releasing like in a day or a few hours from now, because I'm working and I just can't sit by the computer releasing everything, I can make it an early access to members, and then when it goes live, then everybody can watch it. So right now, that's what I'm going to be offering your guys' membership. If you do decide to sign up for membership, please do not feel obligated to sign up for a membership. Like I said, I did not ever really want to do this. It was just expressed to me that some people would like that option. $1.99 a month, I think is cheaper than a meal for sure. If you do feel obligated to do that, I think you can cancel your membership whenever you want. It's just going to be month to month. What I am promising you to membership at this point is that if I do have a video that's scheduled for release, members will get early access to that video before the video actually goes to wide release. The good thing about that is that I can check membership comments a lot easier, and you guys have a good chance to review it and tell me if I made a mistake, if I need to edit it again. Truth be told, I don't like watching my videos the second time after I edited them anyway, so having fresh eyes taking a look at it is not something I can turn down either. For what it's worth, I really do appreciate all the support everybody that has been following along for the last few years has given me. I had no idea this would be my life, and I had absolutely no idea I'd be traveling the country, being able to not just inspect or review or walk through these buses, but also I get to test drive them down the road and share them with you guys. It's all been because you guys have been watching these videos. I appreciate it. And I do promise we have a lot more repairs coming up, and something of a nightmare that I've been putting off for a number of years now. Let me just thank you guys one more time. And I just wanted to end this video by thanking you one more time for all the support over the years. I do try to read all the emails. I really do try my best to answer them as much as I can, especially when we're talking about having repairs done on your RV. I know you guys want me to do a lot of repairs. For the last few years, my scheduling has just been so erratic and all over the place that I don't even know what I'm doing next week. So I don't want to bring anybody's RV into the shop or go to anybody's house and work on their RV, not knowing if I'm gonna leave them hanging for a couple of weeks while I'm crossing the country again. I don't want to do that to anybody. So I hope you guys understand that. Thanks a lot. All right, well, maybe TPO oxidizes a little bit more than I told you guys. Not too bad though.